This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, cycles and single-lane traffic remain as Dunedin City Council unveils its George Street plans. Sammy's music venue hosts an encore performance after local bands sneak inside the closed building. And COVID pressures hit Dunedin's Wildlife Hospital with requests for more funding and the return of volunteers. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. The Dunedin City Council has released its revised plans for the planned Central City redevelopment. The George Street retail quarter designs were unveiled this afternoon, outlining design strategies, the street layouts and changes for the $28 million project.
It's a redevelopment that Dunedin City Council is branding as totally gorgeous, or totally Georgious. In practice, it's a long-delayed and major upgrade of the city's main street, with just over $28 million earmarked to redevelop George Street. There was some opposition to elements of the original plan, but Dunedin City Council Plan Project Director Glenn Hazelton claims the move to one-way single-lane traffic is remaining, so the council can stay within budget.
So at this stage we are just doing it fit for the one-way traffic. That's still a consideration for council if they want to change that, but
DCC Chief Executive Sandy Graham says the revised Central City plans have been developed with mana whenua.
I'm extremely proud of the work that has been done and the way that my staff have worked with Ōkaha on behalf of mana whenua to deliver this design, and I'm really confident that when people see it, they will be blown away by it in the same way that I have been.
The council released a series of concept designs and layouts for the multi-million-dollar project today. Glenn Hazelton says 3 blocks of George Street will have their own unique themes and styles, with a twist in the way each will be developed.
the opportunity is also with the way we'll lay out the street is you can close off block by block much easier than we can at the moment, and hopefully without the requirement of lots of orange cones and plastic barriers.
Much of the money is actually being spent below ground, replacing old pipes. Above ground, the redevelopment will feature the use of paving stones, along with more shared spaces for pedestrians and cyclists, and references to Dunedin's history and heritage. The council's aiming to have the first block between Moray Place and St Andrews Street finished by September this year. In Dunedin, the South Today.
COVID-19 Response Minister Chris Hipkins has announced the country will move to the orange traffic light setting from midnight tonight. The orange setting is less restrictive, with no capacity limits for both indoor and outdoor activities or events. People will no longer be required to be seated and served at hospitality venues, a rule that meant bars and nightclubs couldn't allow dancing. Face masks won't be required at as many places, including at schools, but they are still required inside retail stores, public facilities and on public transport. Minister Hipkins denied the decision was political or related to the border opening with Australia. He insists falling case numbers drove the decision. The traffic light setting is due to be reviewed again in mid-May. A classic Dunedin music venue was resurrected for one night only after a few local bands took the law into their own hands. The group of musicians managed to gain access to the former Sammy's venue near the Central City on Sunday night, holding a sneaky gig for about 100 friends.
They fought the law, and it looks like they've won. These local musicians getting the old Sammy's music venue rocking again on Sunday night. The venue was bought and closed by the Dunedin City Council in 2017, but a group of young bands managed to gain access to the shut-down site at the weekend to play a gig on the hallowed stage. These videos posted on social media show local bands Hot Sauce Club, Sunflower Scent and the Beatniks entertaining an invited last-minute crowd of about 100 fans on Sunday night. One musician who played at the gig, but wants to remain anonymous, said some urban explorers had found an unlocked access point to the Crawford Street building in recent months. They said it had been surreal to take the same stage as bands like Pavement and the Pogues, who played at the entertainment venue in its heyday. Organisers say Sunday's gig was a one-off special event with a largely student-aged crowd. The bands brought in a generator and hired a PA to provide power, sound and lights for the stage. They claim the gig was prompted by a lack of places for local bands to play at. Dunedin City Council Property Services Group Manager Anna Nelson admits they'd been unaware of the gig, but says they are now in discussions with the police around the incident. She said work toward a new mid-sized venue for Dunedin had been widely canvassed in the media, with the council having no further comment about Sammy's sneaky encore. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Queenstown Lakes Mayor Jim Bolt has announced he won't be standing for re-election in this year's local body elections. His decision this afternoon leaves the region's contest wide open. Mayor Bolt says he's been honoured to have held the position for 2 terms and is proud and humbled by what his council has achieved over that time. We'll have more details about the surprise decision tomorrow. And while Anzac Day is still almost 2 weeks away, one Dunedin school has commemorated the day early. Pupils, staff and guests at King's High School marked the solemn occasion with an early Anzac service yesterday. That included laying out commemorative crosses bearing the names of former pupils and teachers from the school who were killed in action. The head boy says the Anzac service still holds an important message today.
It's obviously a fun for us and why we have this freedom. So it's good to pay respects and obviously be aware of what has come before us.
The school celebrated the Day of Remembrance this week because Anzac Day itself falls during the school holidays this year. Dunedin's Wildlife Hospital has been experiencing its own crisis over the last 2 years of the COVID-19 pandemic. The hospital officially opened its doors in 2018 and has treated hundreds of birds and animals, but now it's reaching out for help itself.
Looking after sick and injured birds and animals on a shoestring budget. The last 2 years have been tough for Dunedin's Wildlife Hospital, with COVID-19 restrictions accompanied by a sharp decrease in funding for the centre.
So essentially we haven't been able to have any fundraising events for quite some time. It's obviously very difficult to plan things at the moment and really look ahead to forecast what events that we can do. I think confidence is down a little bit as well in general, so we're seeing fewer donations come in.
Wildlife Hospital Trust Manager Jordana White says they've been trying to do just as much on less money and resources.
On the operational side, it's made things a little bit tricky for us to have volunteers or visitors come into the hospital, special guests, that kind of thing. Contractors, that just makes everything a little bit more complicated, which is added stress for our already small and busy team.
There are currently 8 kakapo chicks, an erect crested penguin and a number of other birds being cared for at the Dunedin facility. White says 2 of the kakapo have broken legs from accidents, while 5 others have the fungal disease aspergillosis, which has been affecting the population for a few years.
And that is something that happened in 2019 as well on Whanawaha, or Codfish Island. So we're working with those chicks now to get them fit and healthy, recover from that fungal disease.
The team have been continuing to care for all the creatures they can, but are looking forward to being able to welcome back volunteer helpers as COVID restrictions are eased. White says they also urgently need more financial support, with the centre reaching out for corporate sponsorship. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Whai Iagane still to come on the South Today. The New Zealand Sports Hall of Fame might be on the move, but where to? And work begins in Dunedin's Octagon following the end of the protest campsite.
Risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
It's Easter, and my mate John's having a sale. Easter Bunny Bargains! The name sucks, but John sure knows how to run a sale. He's taken 30% off absolutely everything. Dunedin's biggest range of rock-bottom warehouse price furniture and beds just got a whole lot cheaper. Easter Bunny Bargains! This long weekend at John's Furniture Warehouse, Stafford Street.
Where did you get that furniture from? Stafford Street. And my mate John.
Hi there, guess who? Do you recognise the eyes? Oh, okay, it's a haircut. Anyway, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores are carrying on as usual. Despite what's happening in the world, we have got some great stock for you. Personally, I've spent 50 years in this business and we have some excellent supplier relationships. We've got great stock, it's hand-picked, it's here, it's on time, and it's ready for this great summer.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So, as my favourite cup says, keep calm and carry on.
Every day the team at Gillian's supports grieving families at their time of need, from answering your questions to organising a farewell that reflects the wishes of your loved one. We can help. Call Gillian's today.
Spark your joy with jazz, the next generation from Honda.
Hi, we're a Concern Otago.
Age Concern Otago hosts a multitude of social activities, including interwalks.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Tēnā koe, welcome back. The Sports Hall of Fame looks likely to be moving out of Dunedin, although the trust behind the venue won't confirm its future. The Hall of Fame has been located inside the Dunedin railway station for more than 20 years, but the financially strapped museum is now looking for a new site. The Dunedin City Council's been reluctant to fund a shortfall in funding for the museum on an ongoing basis. However, the Sports Hall of Fame Trust says negotiations with a party outside Dunedin are progressing well. The ODT understands the town of Cambridge, near Hamilton, is the front-runner to host the hall, with a proposal to build a new multi-million-dollar facility. Cambridge has a population of about 20,000 people, but houses the National Cycling Centre of Excellence, along with Rowing New Zealand's High Performance Centre.
There are some things dogs can do better than humans.
Pupils at a Dunedin college were treated to a visit by a guest with a high-powered nose. A dog called Magic introduced the school to remarkable skills that dogs can play in the early detection of cancer in humans.
There are some things dogs can do better than humans. Kavanagh College pupils were treated this week to a visit by Magic, the medical detection dog, together with trainer Lynette James. Magic is one of a number of dogs trained by the Dunedin-based trust K9 Medical Detection NZ. The dogs have been taught to detect human diseases such as certain types of cancer in urine samples.
Almost everybody's had their lives affected by cancer in some way, so it's really amazing to be able to bring a way of dealing with that into the school and seeing how we can make new advances in science using animals.
Senior pupils, including Sarah Albelushi, learnt how many receptors a dog has compared to a human and how that can be put to good use.
Yeah, it's really amazing that we can harness this natural ability to be able to serve us in such an important way.
Albelushi says she's considering studying to become a vet as a career.
I'm really hoping to study veterinary science next year, so it's a really cool opportunity to learn a lot more about animals can help us in our world.
The Kavanagh College visit was part of a developing education program which K9 Medical Detection NZ is hoping to roll out to other schools as well. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Contractors have moved into Dunedin's Octagon just 2 days after the last of the protesters camping out there finally departed. Large patches of grass in the upper Octagon died after 8 weeks of tents being erected on top of the lawn. Workers began this morning by stripping back the top of the soil before applying a new turf to the site. Dunedin Mayor Aaron Hawkins says it would be overly antagonistic to ask protesters to pay for remediation of the lawn. The grass also had to be replaced and holes filled after the Occupy Octagon protest in 2011, when campers stayed on the site for more than 9 weeks. The Deputy Mayor of the Queenstown Lakes District is demanding action after silt ran off into Wanaka's Bullock Creek. Callum McLeod says the local creek was clouded with mud after recent rain created runoff from a landscaping project.
Turned into a muddy torrent, the normally clear-running spring-fed waters of Wanaka's Bullock Creek were filled with silt after a recent rainfall. The origin of the silt is a property being landscaped in Younghall Street. Yesterday, Deputy Mayor Callum McLeod demanded action, saying, "This is once again us failing to do our job. Where are QLDC's enforcement team?" According to Otago Fish and Game Officer Paul Van Klink, who has worked for years on restoring the Bullock Creek wetland, it's not the first time that earthworks have muddied the iconic stream. Van Klink says, unfortunately, QLDC is treating Bullock Creek like a developer's stormwater drain. A Queenstown Lakes District Council investigation is underway, but it is too soon to know if the property owner will face any action about their landscaping efforts. In Wanaka, the South Today.
Whai Yakane. After the break on the South Today, an Otago whitewater kayaker is set to compete in Italy, and we'll take a look at the weather ahead of the long Easter weekend.
Drop when you every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Livingwell Disability Resource Centre, a not-for-profit charitable organisation and your one-stop shop for information and resources to help you retain independence. We offer a wide range of assistive products from jar openers to mobility scooters and provide assessments for Total Mobility, the half-price taxi scheme. Come and see the friendly team. You'll find us on the corner of George and Bath Streets, ground floor of Burns House.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Easter Bunny Bargains! The name sucks, but John sure knows how to run a sale. He's taken 30% off absolutely everything.
And my mate John.
Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
Tēnā, welcome back. A 16-year-old kayaker from Alexandra has been selected to compete in Italy in July. Tom Goldsmith is the latest teen from the region's kayaking club, the Central Otago Whitewater, to be chosen to represent New Zealand.
Preparing to represent his country, Alexandra kayaker Tom Goldsmith has been selected as part of the team to compete at the Junior World Championships. The young athlete will be paddling as part of New Zealand's under-18 canoe slalom team in Italy.
Very excited for the culture, very excited for the racing as well and meeting all the other kids from around the world.
Goldsmith's been kayaking for 4 years and credits his success to the encouragement from the Central Otago Whitewater Club along with his family.
My dad really pushed me to sort of like keep going it and just like keep doing it.
The 16-year-old Dunstan High School pupil is planning to give his all to the sport until the crunch time of deciding whether to go to university.
There'll definitely come a time in my life where I will have to make that decision, so I just gotta, keep going until I get there.
The Junior World Kayaking Championships are set to be held in Italy in July. In Alexandra, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Cycles and single-lane traffic remain as the Dunedin City Council unveils its updated vision for the costly George Street redevelopment. The former Sammy's music venue hosted an encore performance after a group of local bands sneak inside the closed building to play an illegal gig for their fans. And COVID pressures hit Dunedin's Wildlife Hospital, with the loss of volunteers increasing the workload for staff and calls for more funding to help care for the birds and animals. And now a peek behind the pages in tomorrow's ODT, and we welcome our Associate Editor, Debbie Porteous. And good evening, Debbie.
Evening, thank you.
What can we expect in the paper tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow we'll get into a bit more detail about those plans for George Street. It does look very exciting, doesn't it?
We've got something to imagine now.
Yes, yes. We've had a talk with Jim Bolt about more about why he's decided not to run in the elections in October, the local body elections in Queenstown. And we're taking a closer look at the decision to move the country to the orange setting. We have some reaction from health and education sectors who are, understandably a bit nervous about that decision, and just general reaction from the business community as well.
Okay. An interesting change, so we'll look forward to reading all those stories in tomorrow's ODT. Thank you, Debbie, for sharing this evening.
Thank you.
And now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Looking at the situation, fine for a few days, but another cold front will arrive early on Saturday with a brief period of showers. Heading to the top of the South Island, Nelson will be sunny tomorrow with light winds and 19. Greymouth fine with 18 in light winds. Also fine in Christchurch with light breezes reaching 16 degrees. To our southern towns now. A stunning winter's day on the way for the Catlins. Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore can all expect clear skies, moderate southwesterlies and 15-degree highs. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes area, it'll be fine with light winds through here, with Wanaka reaching 19, Queenstown and Alexandra feeling 18 as the top temperature, while Te Anau will be cooler on 15 degrees. Looking at the northern towns next, Timaru heads for 17 degrees with light easterlies, while Awamaru will get moderate nor'easterlies and a high of 16. Beautiful inland, Twizel and Omarama both have light winds too, reaching a fine 19 degrees. Down to Dunedin, fine and cold tonight and a nippy overnight low of 3 degrees. Mostly fine tomorrow, reaching 16 and down to 5. Friday will be pretty much a carbon copy of Thursday, heading for 17 and dropping to 7 degrees. And in Invercargill, fine and cold tonight with an overnight low of 7 degrees. Fine again tomorrow, reaching 15 and down to 7. And Friday's looking much the same, bringing more sun, a high of 16 and dropping to 8 degrees. That's the news this Wednesday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. Nō reira, kia pai te pō, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.